Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and download the full podcast to your smartphone. There's a link in the description below. How much time do you get to spend on your art?
Not enough.
That's my same answer.
It sucks because you get kind of sucked into a loophole where you spend so much time doing something, and at the end of it, you realize what time it is, and I have to get up in the morning for work or whatever it is, and I don't feel like I got enough done. Mm-hmm. But typically I get off work and I generally spend a good majority of the night, hours, just messing around with the music. Mm-hmm. So I think I did the math on Gardens of Eden's album, and I think I spent somewhere around 250 hours just messing with things, tweaking with things, making sure metadata is, clean and correct. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Right. And it's unfortunate that there's so little time in a day.
Yeah.
Like I just had a podcast, my last podcast that I did with Ro Malaga. He said something. Everyone's got the same 20. You have the same. Wait, what was it? It was you have the same 24 hours as Beyonce or something like that. There was some quote like that, right?
I like that.
And although that's true, we all have the same 24 hours time wise. We don't have the same 24 hours on what we can choose to do. Yeah. Whereas, I've got a family. Yeah. I've got a job, and that leaves me little time to work on my stuff as well.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know if Beyonce ever had to put up with that.
No, probably not.
Maybe she has a family. I don't know. I don't follow pop artists, so I have no idea. But when I think of the metal artists, most of them that I listened to, they made it in their early mid-20s, when they had literally nothing else to do, and somehow they had some cash to afford recording their music.
Yeah.
And so and that's another obstacle there too, is the thing that I'm finding out more is that you need money.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to be able to pay people to do stuff. And that is where, that job comes in, and that sucks up time. And then, like you were saying, it's kind of a loop.
Yeah. It's clockwork every day. You go and handle what you have to make sure that everything else can kind of fall into place as best as you can. You just kind of funnel as much time as you can until you realize, that's enough for the day. I should probably put it down.
So you did have some successes recently in the fact that you have completed an album for Sinners and an album for Gardens of Eden.
Yeah.
So I've never done that for any of my stuff yet. I haven't even completed anything. So, how are you able to, with the little time that you have, how are you able to push that through?
It's definitely had its trials and errors, and it's definitely has been difficult. But I guess there's just a kind of a drive in the back of my head that says that there's nothing bad that can come from pushing myself a little bit more on this and working on this a little bit extra. And that's something that I do push myself a lot, but I also try to, how do I say that? Try to allot appropriate time for it as well, because I've noticed that if you do push too much, way too much, you're just constantly at it all the time and you're not doing anything else, then the actual craft suffers on its own. You have to be able to have that good balance in between I'm working on this and I'm playing on something else. And I think it's just a drive thing that's pushed me. Maybe not just drive either. I just enjoy it a whole bunch, and it's kind of a good safe space where I can put these goals on what I want to do for this song and then come back to it later if I feel like it's done and I want fresh ears on it.
Right.
And I think the enjoyment still has to be there too. Because if you just burn yourself out on doing it, it's not going to be fun anymore. And then you go do something else.
Yeah.
Starting a project doesn't always come to fruition, doesn't always find finality. And I have struggled with that a lot as well. I have a process now where I'll sit down and I'll work on something, and I'll get base, just skeleton of what a song should be, and I'll do that. And once I have a couple of songs, I'll pick one and I'll just make sure that I stick to that one. And sometimes that I'll find similarities in the songs, and that'll help me eliminate parts that are like, well, this is the same part but a different octave, and I don't want to repeat the same guitar riff or things like that. And it opens up better ideas where I can take scraps from one song and I can use those for different songs. So I have a whole folder on my computer that's just filled with guitar scraps or vocal takes, weird effects that I've made, things like that.
Yeah.
So.
I don't quite have that process.
I went to college for what I do with recording and stuff. I did the 2 semesters, and my funding got cut, and I didn't want it to go to waste. So I downloaded the first free DAW that I could, started playing with stuff and doing music covers, and I don't think that I produce bad music or bad sounding quality or anything like that.
I think it's really high quality.
But I definitely feel like there's room for improvement.
Right.
But I don't have the, like, I guess, behind the scenes resources to just get kind of nudged into the right direction.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like I love being in Utah. It's a great place to live. My family's here. Yeah. And we have so much stability here. I mean, again, we're not like well off, but we're at least stable. And if I were just to up and move to LA, like, is it because I'm not willing to take that risk? I mean, I guess there's like thousands of people that do that and still don't make it too. And so would that even make a difference? And so I often wonder about that. Is it my proximity to where the industry is that maybe what's holding me back?
I'm sure that there's some kind of influence from that.